especially the love all my life, my angel, Gwyneth Paltrow. And
Shock, whispers, and one loaded line. For years, fans have argued over which woman Brad Pitt loved most, and now his own words have reignited the debate. From a Golden Globes shoutout calling someone the love of my life to a 2025 remark about how relationships evolve, the clues have been hiding in plain sight. Today, we piece together the moments the public missed, the early flames, the whirlwind engagements, the marriages that defined an era, and the calm he's found today. We'll use interviews, public appearances, and rare details to decode what many now read as Brad Pitt's quiet confession. The confession. For decades, Brad Pitt's love life has been dissected in headlines, red carpets, and late-night interviews. But if you peel away the rumors and fan theories, there are only a handful of moments where Brad himself revealed something truly intimate. And one of those moments stands above all the rest. It happened in January 1996, during the Golden Globes. Pitt had just won Best Supporting Actor for his role in 12 Monkeys. Beaming on stage, he thanked his then-girlfriend Gwyneth Paltrow, calling her his angel, and, most importantly, the love of my life. That wasn't a throwaway line. It was a statement delivered at the height of his career's ascent, in front of Hollywood's elite and millions watching at home. It remains the clearest, most direct time Brad has publicly attached that phrase to someone he loved. For many, that single line became a historical anchor in his romantic timeline. Yet, as the years passed, another relationship took over the public imagination: Brad and Jennifer Aniston. Their marriage in 2000 was a cultural event, celebrated as Hollywood's most picture-perfect union. Which is why, when they divorced in 2005, fans never truly let go of the idea that they were meant to be. Fast forward to 2020. Backstage at the Screen Actors Guild Awards, cameras captured a fleeting moment that would fuel years of speculation. Pitt and Aniston embraced warmly after both had won awards. Their smiles, the casual touch of Brad holding her wrist as she walked away, it was enough to ignite headlines across the globe. For many, that small gesture felt like confirmation of an undying bond. Soon after, the two reunited again for a virtual table read of Fast Times at Ridgemont High, laughing their way through romantic dialogue. Fans interpreted these moments as destiny knocking once again. But the truth, according to both actors, is more grounded. They've repeatedly clarified that they're close friends, nothing more. The chemistry is real, but it's rooted in respect, history, and enduring affection, not a rekindled romance. Brad offered such a rare reflection in May 2025 about love and timing during his comments for GQ. When asked if there are times when he and his appearance in public are carefully calibrated, he dismissed the notion. "No, dude, it's not that calculated." Man, how tiring would that be if you're living out such calculations? Life just evolves. Relationships evolve. The word he chose was evolution, not omission. And round about this time, people got comments from friends who said that his relationship with jewelry designer Inez de Ramon has brought with it a lot of peace for Brad. The association felt easy and natural, a grounding partnership following years of turbulence. Inez may not have been there for the early chapters, but she represents something Brad values deeply now: calm, stability, and authenticity. So, what do we make of this journey? On one hand, the most explicit confession, the love of my life, was made to Gwyneth Paltrow in 1996. On the other, public memory often elevates Jennifer Aniston as the ultimate symbol of Brad's romantic story. And now, Inez de Ramon, so to speak, signifies peace, a love not characterized by big flashy moments, but instead simply defined. It is through this lens of his story that we learn the love of his life isn't something that stops with a John Doe or Jane Doe. It evolves with him. If that's the present clarity, then to understand who left the deepest imprint, we have to start where his story began, before the billboards and blockbusters. Before fame, real sparks. Long before he became one of Hollywood's most recognizable faces, Brad Pitt was simply a young man trying to find his path in Los Angeles. His early romances reveal a side of him untouched by fame's glare, a time when he was just another dreamer with boyish charm, a Midwest smile, and an undeniable magnetism that seemed to draw people in. In many ways, these relationships tell us more about Brad's essence than the glamorous love stories that came later. They were raw, uncalculated, and deeply human. One of his first high-profile relationships was with British pop singer Sunita, best known for her hits in the mid-1980s. They dated between 1986 and 1988, long before Pitt's breakout role in Thelma and Louise. Looking back, Sunita described him as young, fun, and sweet, emphasizing how down-to-earth he was. She admitted that at the time, she had no idea what kind of star he would become. Years later, when she saw him explode onto the screen as the charismatic drifter in Thelma and Louise, she famously remarked, "Oh my God, what have I done?" The irony wasn't lost on her or on fans. That small relationship became proof that even before the world recognized Brad's magnetism, those close to him already sensed it. Sunita's anecdotes paint a picture of a man who was approachable, playful, and simply enjoyable to be around. Someone who carried the seeds of star power without yet being defined by it. From there, Pitt's path crossed with actresses who revealed a different side of him. Jill Sholin, his co-star in the horror film Cutting Class, 1989, became his girlfriend off-screen. Though their relationship was brief, it highlighted the blurred lines between Brad's professional and personal life, something that would follow him throughout his career. Then came E.G. Daily, a voice actress and singer who described Brad as super cute, soulful, and deep. More tellingly, she remembered sensing his ambition, calling it a strong, visceral drive towards something really big. That observation proved prophetic. Even before Hollywood crowned him, those who knew Brad could feel his hunger, not just for fame, but for meaningful work. Daly later noted that while their romance was short-lived, their connection left her with respect for his intensity and commitment. These encounters revealed an important truth. Brad's ambition was never separate from his relationships. It was part of who he was, a force that both attracted and challenged the people close to him. Of course, not all early stories were simple love tales. In the late 1980s, Pitt found himself entangled in one of Hollywood's most unusual love triangles, this one involving actress Robin Givens and her then-husband, boxer Mike Tyson. Tyson claimed in his 2013 memoir that he once pulled into his driveway to find Givens with Brad, even suggesting he caught them in bed together. Givens later disputed that dramatic detail, clarifying that while Tyson did see them in her car, the alleged bedroom scene never happened. Her correction didn't stop the tabloids from running wild. That double episode offered one of the early instances of Brad experiencing the warped reality of celebrity gossip, the blurring between what is known fact and what becomes, for public entertainment purposes, a rumor. Also, surreal was a brief period when the illusion became reality as they dated. Brad once shared the occasion of the MTV Movie Awards of 1989 with Applegate. Then one day, it made huge rounds late into the night-long trashy mockery when Applegate ditched Pitt mid-event for another guy. In interviews decades later, she refused to reveal the mystery man's name, adding to the legend of Brad's early heartbreaks. These tales remind us that not every moment in Brad's early love life was monumental. Some were fleeting connections, others were tangled in exaggeration or misunderstanding. But then, they were following the rule. Brad Pitt had an attraction long before Hollywood even knew his name. He charmed to capture, possessed ambition enough to impress, and was terribly unlucky to find his name going in the rumor mill long before he could deal with it. Then came the first relationship that felt cinematic on and off screen, and the first time Brad used that life-changing phrase in public. Gwyneth, the golden hour. Every star has a moment where love and career collide in a way that feels almost scripted. For Brad Pitt, that moment came in the mid-1990s, when his rising fame intersected with his romance with Gwyneth Paltrow. The two met on the set of C7N in 1994, where Gwyneth played his wife on screen. Off-screen, the chemistry was undeniable, and what began as a working partnership quickly evolved into something much deeper. Hollywood took notice immediately. Here were two of the brightest young talents of their generation, walking red carpets, attending premieres, and embodying the image of a golden couple. To fans, they seemed untouchable, the very definition of young love in its prime. Their relationship escalated quickly, culminating in one of the most public declarations of affection in Brad Pitt's career. At the 1996 Golden Globe Awards, where he won Best Supporting Actor for 12 Monkeys, he used his acceptance speech to thank Gwyneth. In front of millions, he didn't hold back. He called her his angel and, most strikingly, the love of my life. That sentiment, spoken aloud, carved their love story into the annals of Hollywood history. For many, this stands as Brad's public confession, his most explicit and from the heart, never clearer than at this moment. It felt like he was thanking not just a partner, but making a promise to the world. A dozen trumpets heralded the glitzy distractions from their other more intimate moments, things fans would hear about only years later. In a 2023 podcast appearance, Gwyneth recalled Brad's proposal set in Argentina. Up on a balcony, he surprised her with the question. "I wish I remembered exactly what he said," she said, "but the excitement, the happiness, and the absolute magic of that night have never left my heart." This was no Hollywood moment. It was personal. That balcony proposal, tucked away from flashing cameras, made for tenderness to a romance that otherwise stands in public view from glossy images and sound bites. For a couple under constant public scrutiny, it is those unguarded memories where the true story lay. But the dream didn't last. By June 1997, Brad and Gwyneth called off their engagement. The announcement stunned fans who had come to see them as Hollywood's perfect pair. Yet, both Brad and Gwyneth were surprisingly candid about their breakup. Brad, in later interviews, spoke warmly about her, emphasizing the respect and affection he still felt. He rejected the stereotypical view of failure attached to relationships and saw it as meaningful but run its course. Their relationship was proof that the glittering facade of an outside world can be complicated by shadows beyond what anyone can think of on the inside. But while one golden hour ended, another story. The most culturally iconic Brad romance of the 2000s was about to begin. Jennifer, icon, marriage, myth. By the late 1990s, Brad Pitt had already cemented himself as one of Hollywood's most bankable stars. Jennifer Aniston, meanwhile, was America's sweetheart, riding the wave of Friends and becoming a household name. When the two worlds collided, it was as if a fairy tale had walked right off the red carpet. Their first official public outing came at the 1999 Emmy Awards, where Brad, in silver shades, stood beside Jennifer in a sparkling dress. The cameras loved them, and so did the fans. The romance felt easy, glamorous, and somehow believable. The boy from Missouri and the California girl next door had found each other at just the right time. Just a year later, in July 2000, they married in a lavish Malibu ceremony that would become the stuff of Hollywood legend. With nearly 200 guests, a gospel choir, fireworks, and thousands of flowers, the celebration was extravagant, yet intimate enough to reflect their joy. Jennifer's father walked her down the aisle, and Brad had reportedly spent months helping design her diamond and platinum engagement ring. Their union wasn't just a marriage, it was a cultural moment. Soon after, the couple co-founded Plan B Entertainment with producer Brad Gray. While it started quietly, Plan B would grow into a powerhouse production company, proof that their partnership extended beyond red carpets. Together, they projected an image of strength, charm, and balance. But underneath that carefully curated picture, pressures began to build. By January 2005, the fairy tale cracked. After 7 years together, Brad and Jennifer announced their separation in a joint statement. In carefully chosen words, they denied that rumors of infidelity were to blame. "Our separation is not the result of any speculation reported by the tabloid media," the statement read. "This decision is the result of much thoughtful consideration." Their choice to publicly frame the breakup with grace and unity pushed back against the frenzy of gossip that sought to paint Jennifer as a victim or Brad as a villain. The tabloids, however, had a field day elaborating on the triangle. By then, Brad had grown closer to Angelina Jolie. For Jen, abiding in excruciating pain under the spotlight was debilitating. She confessed later that year to aspects of grief in a brutally honest interview with Vanity Fair, discussing heartbreak, loss, and growth. "I am not defined by this relationship," she insisted, a statement that shifted the focus of her identity from being the other half of Hollywood's golden couple to an individual enjoying the freedom to make her own choices. In time, the wounds that were so raw began to scab over. The two went on to develop an unlikely friendship that confirmed all the stronger aspects of their relationship. In 2019, Brad showed up for Jennifer's 50th birthday, sparking more reconciliation rumors. Less than a year hence, their backstage hugs at the 2020 Screen Actors Guild Awards cemented itself as the most viral picture of the evening. Smiles, touches of hands, and brief eye contact caused the social media meltdown. Also, they reunited for a virtual table read of Fast Times at Ridgemont High, jokingly performing a flirty part. Every glance and chuckle were analyzed by the fans, but Jennifer was quick to set the record straight. While calling Brad a buddy in an interview later, she pointed out how easy and non-awkward it was between them. The history that they had shared deserved respect, but that did not mean that they were even thinking of rekindling the romance. The Jennifer and Brad saga continues not for the failed love story, but for the far-reaching example of what love after love could mean. Once the epitome of Hollywood perfection, they became the face of public agonies. And finally, they emerged as tokens of how friendship can survive whilst romance cannot. Respect endured, but love stories don't stop. The next chapter brought children, marriage, and a storm, and it reshaped Brad's life for years. Angelina to Ines, after the storm. If Brad Pitt's romance with Gwyneth Paltrow was a golden hour, and his marriage to Jennifer Aniston was a fairy tale, then his relationship with Angelina Jolie was a saga, one that combined passion, family, and a storm that would dominate headlines for more than a decade. Their story began in 2003 on the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. The chemistry between Brad and Angelina was undeniable, sparking speculation even before his marriage to Jennifer had officially ended. By 2005, the rumors had become reality. Their partnership quickly became one of the most talked about in the world, symbolizing both glamour and controversy. Together, Brad and Angelina built a family that would grow to include 6 children, 3 biological and 3 adopted. They traveled the globe, appeared at humanitarian events, and seemed inseparable. In 2014, nearly a decade after their relationship began, they married at their estate in France, Château Miraval. The ceremony was deeply personal. The couple's children helped write the vows, and Angelina's gown was decorated with drawings by the kids themselves. It was a rare glimpse of intimacy within the spectacle, a moment that seemed to cement their bond for life. But just 2 years later, the story unraveled. In September 2016, Angelina filed for divorce, citing the health of the family. Soon after, reports emerged of a heated argument on a private plane. Allegations surfaced, and both Child Protective Services and the FBI investigated. Ultimately, the cases were closed without charges, but the damage had been done. The public narrative shifted from romance to scandal, from family unity to fractured trust. By 2019, Brad and Angelina were declared legally single, but the legal battles stretched on for years. Custody arrangements, financial settlements, and the future of their shared winery at Miraval became the subject of ongoing disputes. It wasn't until late 2024 that most of the custody and financial issues were formally resolved. though the winery battle remains unsettled. What began with sparks on a movie set ended with paperwork, courtrooms, and lingering tension. Re-entering the world of dating after that storm, Brad took tentative steps. Professors, models, colleagues, the tabloids were continuously speculating about who would be the next lady. None of the rumors lasted long. In December 2023, another angle got penned into Brad's narrative and pointed directly to Ines de Ramon, a jewelry designer who had just split from her hubby, actor Paul Wesley. They were seen embracing each other for the first time at a Bono concert in Los Angeles. By early 2024, reports included her now splitting her time between Brad's Los Angeles compound and her own house. Ines, famed for her informality, simple-mindedness, and grounding force personality, was a calming factor in Brad's turbulent life. By May 25, 2025, he reportedly found a lot of peace with her, in line with Ines' case, for an easy and natural relationship with what he told People. This is, perhaps, finally it. Peace amidst the storm. Brad himself seemed to hint at this new perspective in his 2025 GQ interview. When asked whether his public outings were calculated, he dismissed the idea. "No, dude, it's not that calculated. Life just evolves. Relationships evolve." His words didn't erase the past. They reframed it. If the 1990s love of my life moment belonged to Gwyneth, and if the 2000s myth crowned Jennifer, then the 2020s answer is simpler. If you enjoyed this deep dive, like the video, drop your take in the comments. Who do you believe was Brad's greatest love, and why? And subscribe for more layered Hollywood breakdowns. When you're ready for the next story, watch the video on your screen now for another untold chapter behind the headlines.